Introduction to Philosophy, Lecture 13. Our text introduces Unit 3 with an overview of philosophy of religion, citing again the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, which defines it as the philosophical examinations of the central themes and concepts involved in religious traditions. Some central themes are discussed, such as the nature of religion as a whole and how it relates to metaphysics, epistemology, and ethics. Philosophy of religion is also distinguished from theology by pointing out that, for theology, its critical reflections are based on religious convictions. Also, theology is responsible to an authority that initiates its thinking, speaking, and witnessing, while philosophy bases its arguments on the ground of timeless evidence. Our text also identifies three basic considerations: the existence of God, the nature of God, and the knowledge of God. There are many positions regarding the existence of God that our text defines in this chapter, including theism, the belief in one or more deities; atheism, the belief in no deities; monotheism, the belief in one deity; and polytheism, the belief in multiple deities, and others. Natural theology is also distinguished from theology the discipline as a philosophical project of proving God's existence without appealing to divine revelation. The problem of evil is also introduced briefly as the question of how to reconcile the existence of evil with the existence of God. Finally, before beginning this chapter on science and theology, our text explains the omni-nature of God. That is, the God we'll be discussing is thought to be omnipotent or all-powerful, omniscient or all-knowing, omnipresent or always present, and omnibenevolent, all or supremely good. Our text begins this chapter on science and theology with a brief history of the development of the sciences and their relationship to religion, with emphasis on Christian theology. Our text proceeds by listing four important challenges that arise from science that called orthodox theology into question and brought about major revisions to Christian thought. The first challenge discussed was the science's success and rapid progress. Science would come to dethrone religions as the authoritative standards for what was real and what is true. During the period of the Enlightenment, philosophers were challenging traditional beliefs, while science was displacing superstitions and antiquated explanations for natural phenomena. Friedrich Nietzsche's parable of the madman may have been referring to such developments when he claims that we are all collectively responsible for the death of God. This may have been a metaphorical way of saying that our advancements have eliminated the necessity for appeals to God to explain features of the world that were once mysterious to us but are now understood scientifically. Of course, Nietzsche's parable of the madman had ethical considerations in mind as well, but we're going to focus on metaphysics and epistemology. The second challenge was science's undermining of the biblical cosmology that explained our creation and the three-level layout of the universe, with heaven above, hell below, and humans on earth in the middle. From Copernicus to Darwin, the sciences and philosophy were explaining away almost any need to appeal to the existence of a God for the explanation of the natural phenomena we see around us. The third challenge came from our increasingly more scientific worldview that nature was law-abiding and rendered all supernatural claims suspicious. Faith in miracles became increasingly more difficult to accept. The fourth challenge came from the new mechanistic view of the world, where everything was material, deterministic, and meaningless. The world appeared to be a machine, like a clock, just ticking away with complete indifference and devoid of the purpose we once saw in a world that was meaningfully managed by an omnibenevolent God who had plans for all of our lives. Our text boils down theology's responses to these challenges to two admittedly incomplete views: fundamentalism and liberalism. Fundamentalism is the view that anything written in religious scriptures is 100% accurate, and any scientific finding that is not in line with the scriptures must be rejected. Liberalism is the view that science and religion or morality are compatible with each other since they explain different things. Science deals with facts and religion deals with values. As our text says, the same is true of theology. It cannot call into question the findings of science, but it can accept them, whatever they are, and go on to make its own claims based on scripture, tradition, reason, and experience. There are other ways people have attempted to reconcile religion with the continuous advancement of science, and they generally fall into one of these two camps when they are religious. The underlying issue here is that at times people sense a conflict between faith and reason, and whether there is or not is still a very open question. Therefore, it is worthwhile to examine arguments on both sides, to inventory their apparent faults and merits, and to decide for ourselves what view might be the most promising.